Instead of filter effect like a wah-wah where you're controlling it by rocking something back and forth, so you're physically controlling it, or with something like a ring like this, where you're using an accelerometer to control the filter. An envelope filter is a circuit or an algorithm that detects the incoming volume of the guitar signal and creates a control signal based on that to move the filter.
If you have a filter that has a peak in the frequency response, which any wah filter will have, and that peak moves, it tends to sort of sound like wah.
Actually, the original wah-wah was meant to imitate someone using a mute on a trumpet, but it's the same kind of thing. You're imitating some vocal qualities. It can create somewhat vocal sounds. I mean, there's a lot of, and all the sounds you make with your voice and with your mouth are shaping. You create sort of moving filtered tones that way.
If you really look at the spectrum of sound, especially sung vowels, you will often see 3 or 4, and there's even traces of a 5th peak in there. And you can see these things moving. And the exact location of these peaks determine what vowel sound it is.
Actually, we sent one to Mike Gordon from Phish, and he put it right into his rig, which is great. So he has the envelope follower. He also has the bass distortion, and his envelope follower that he used before was a love tone meatball, but because that thing has a very sort of strange output tone, he had to use an equalizer in series with the love tone just to get it to somewhere where it was usable. And his experience with the bass envelope filter was very good, and it seemed like he was able to, because it was not as limiting as the meatball in terms of the frequency range, that he was able to use it for all sorts of stuff. And then actually we picked up some of the recordings that he had later, and there were some songs where it sounded like he was using it for the entire song. He was able to get a nice solo effect, and he wasn't losing a lot of his bass tone, and still able to get some nice textures in the signal from using the BEF. Because it's digital and we have the control setup is already there, we can change the filter types very easily and apply the same control to different filters. So that way you get 21 filter sounds, which are all controllable from the envelope follower. So a lot of diversity of effect types.
We didn't try to do exact models of anything else. We just wanted the general sort of thrust of how they were working. Exact copies of things like that, they're very time-consuming. And I guess it's also my feeling that, well, I can probably do just as well, if not better, just based on my own ears and tuning the thing to where I think it sounds really good.
Number 1 and I believe number 8, which are the resonant low passes, are somewhat similar to the groove regulator. Number 3 is our version of the Pigtronics EP1, which they say is a phaser. It's a little different from a phaser in the setting that we have it, but it sounds pretty similar to it.
The Electro-Harmonix bass balls actually did something interesting. It had a pair of two-pole resonant low passes, but they were not done in series. They were done in parallel. So the signal went into these two-pole resonant low passes at the same time. The same input signal goes into both of these, and then they're summed together, and that's the output. And I immediately said to myself, wow, I missed that one. And it was an interesting sound. So I said, okay, well, we'll throw that one in too.
Then the single peak settings, there are 2 single peak settings, and both of those can get pretty close to the sounds you get out of the MXR bass envelope filter.
We could construct a filter where the response drops at the low frequencies. Clearly we didn't do this for the bass envelope filter because we would have lost all the lows. I know the original Mutron had low pass, band pass, and high pass modes. But again, to me, the high pass is just not my thing. And being as I'm writing the code, we get to do it my way. But again, it's a call. It's a call. You always have to make these calls. Is this a good sound? Is it not that useful a sound? Of course, you can always find someone where it honestly really would be just the sound they need for their music. But you're one person out of 100,000, dude, and we're not going to do it for you.